pressured Trump not to release that as a declassified document.
Yeah, I was gonna down the
AI rabbit hole.
AI rabbit hole. I was going down some rabbit hole there, and oh my gosh, totally forgot what rabbit hole I was going down. Got so involved. You see a few clicks and your brain just goes on you, hey? And
Yeah, off on a tangent.
Goodness me, you know what? Where were we on this thing?
I guess gotta stick to topic.
That was the. Hold on, it'll come back to me. Just keep talking around it, and it'll come back to me. Oh man,
You're gonna talk about the Stargate, right?
Stargate. Oh my gosh, and Sentinel.
Yeah.
And you know, this whole systems of systems. Have you heard about that one? Systems of systems. Oh man, that's, you know, this has been around a while too. Artificial superintelligence, which is busting through. What did we call it again? The what was
Singularity.
Singularity. Of course, Red did that song Singularity, didn't they? We should, yeah. Yeah, Singularity is a pretty famous song by Red. Christian rock band, contemporary Christian rock band. They did some great music in their time. If you're into that.
Okay.
But it's still not the rabbit hole I was looking for. Rhino, Mike Pompeo, who stopped Trump from giving up the RFK files.
Yes.
And we've also got we talked about the RFK files, and we've got also the JFK files and the RFK files and the Martin Luther King files coming out. But will they actually give the question is will they give the
unredacted version out?
Oh yeah, the unredacted version, yeah, or will they muck with it? And will they give the other stuff? Will they give the Area 51 files out? You know, that's another thing too. Will they actually do it? It's just hard to know, really. I guess we're in this year of shock and awe, and really, what we believe and what we know is going to start coming out at some stage. You know,
Trump faced massive resistance in his first term. Now he's going to come out with all guns blazing, symbolically as it were, against the deep state. So he's going to be coming down really hard on that sort of thing. He knows that he was resistant in the first term. He knows what he's dealing with. He's more educated now.
Yeah, I've been talking about guns blazing. I just never seen.
Yeah,
even when he was receiving the oath of president, like, to me, he just looked like a mean machine. He looked mean as. He looked different. He looked like he had a resolve. He had a job to do. You know, kind of get out of my way. And wow, Melanie Trump's outfit and her anonymous. You know, what do you call it? Effigy of the Anon movement and Q for Vendetta, V for Vendetta, the Q movement. She was just epitomizing that movement like she was the Queen herself, Queen Q. And
what, really?
Yeah,
I didn't watch that. Did that give you that Q vibes?
Oh yeah, well, she was wearing the hat that, you know, that kind of, not an Al Capone hat, but she was wearing the hat. She had the V blazer on a V fashion, and she was just, and she looked mean. She looked like, look out, guys, you know, I'm here, I'm back, and I'm going to take care of business.
She absolutely hates what happened at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
Absolutely hates it. So she didn't even attempt to go to some engagement with Joe Biden.
Right.
She didn't show up because of that very reason, because her underwear was evacuated from her bedroom.
Yeah, well,
like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
That's just insanity.
Well, they were a world leader, and they did nothing wrong, and they pried into their privacy, but they entered into a battle with her right from day one when she first, I think, went to the public on their first round, when she went to the public with this great idea to help the children. And apparently at that point the media got all in her face and made her out to be an enemy, and just and that was like, I think, yeah, I don't think it's the rest is history now. But I think she's as much as the steering committee as anyone.
Steering committee?
Yeah, I mean, responsible for what's going to be happening now. She's full on in on this. She's all in on this. It's not just President Trump and his wife. She's the first lady, all right.
So you think she's influencing Trump on some things?
Well, I think they're influencing each other. I think they're encouraging each other on the job that needs to be done, and I think she's as much in on encouraging him to get the job done, and he's encouraging her. I think she's had a lot to do with the comeback. I mean, you look at how much the children are at one mind with them. The children are 100% with the parents, and that only happens when the two parents are walking together, and they're both highly intelligent people.
Oh yeah. Are you talking about Barron Trump?
All the kids are into it. Ivanka and Barron and Eric and the other guy, they're all into it.
Yeah.
Don Jr., is it? Donald Jr.? They're all into it.
Yeah, and that they all actually support their dad.
And they're all part of the campaign. Yeah. Oh, and the younger one as well.
Barron Trump?
The girl.
Oh, the girl. Oh, shit.
Well, she's not younger, but yeah, the other one as well. They're all 100% behind their parents, and they're actively working within the campaigns, working with them.
Yeah, that's right. And they articulate it too really well.
Yeah, and the it's an amazing spirit of unity in there. But Trump releasing on his second day in office, Stargate. Oh my gosh. There's no way Stargate can be just an AI that's out to find the best remedy for cancer. For one, they're talking about these. Actually, I think I even wrote down the measurements. Actually, I did. That was in another document. I'll see if I can find that. I actually wrote down the measurements of the server room. I made some notes on this Stargate, and the size of the server room that they're talking about is absolutely huge.
Wow.
It's massive. It's just a massive, massive building, and I don't know how much computing power that they calculate per square meter, but I'm sure they'll actually have a formula for computing power per square meter. And no, I don't have it there.
You're talking about the AI capabilities of developing a vaccine.
Well, yeah, I mean, so what I'm saying is that he described how big the building was going to be that they're making to make their Stargate computers, right?
It's going to be a server farm, basically. It's going to be a server farm.
Yes, that's right. Yes, I mean it's hundreds and hundreds of square meters of server room space.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely huge. And I did some calculations out on it, but it was just massive, this server room that they're making to put these AI computers in. And he wasn't just talking about this one site, he's talking about multiple sites of these massive server farms. and they're no longer using computer processing units. They're using graphical processing units, which is the NVIDIA chip, which has been the great breakthrough for cryptocurrency mining, of course. So obviously, not only are they creating a great server room for the AI computations, but they'll also be able to do their Bitcoin computations as well and create the large infrastructure to be able to run a great banking system on it. So yeah, this is amazing where it's going. It's a little bit scary. I called it that GPU was like a computer on steroids.
Yeah.
And people probably don't realize that AI has been in the marketplace for a long time. I mean, AI has been used in industry for a long time. So we're basically the AI that's now in the domestic realms. We're just piggybacking on the what's already been there. They're making it available. I mean, Musk was involved with OpenAI many years ago, right? Do you know when that first started, OpenAI project?
No, I don't.
No, and now of course he's got Grok on his X, his AI. China have got all their AIs, and they're worried about DeepSeek. Then we've got Sentient, which is meant to be a NSA AI, which you just read that and freaked out by what you read.
Oh yeah.
On what Sentient AI is, and I don't think we'll read it here, but you can check that out. SENTIENT AI, Sentient AI. So it's just theoretical because they're not really admitting to it or not, but but it is there, and you can get a very good description of it from Grok. Thank you, Elon Musk, for making that available to us. You can learn all about that, and it's not a very good learning. But I think the problem with of competition and commercialism that the world runs in is that if America don't do it, somebody else will.
Yeah.
And this is what they don't realize is that, well, I'm sure they do realize, but President Trump is trying to make America great again, and you make America great by the dollar. The only way to do it is to make more money. So you've got to pull all the business in, and so the way to make more money is to take all the business that's available to you as a nation. And I think with Stargate, if they were obviously planning to do this. It's obviously already been planned out, and they were probably going to do it in China. Or whoever. Maybe they would have done it in New Zealand if we had opened up our power supply down in the south, deep south there. We've got all the power going to the aluminium smelter, and there was talk about Bill Gates putting a big server room down there and use the power for that. They could do this model anywhere in the world. So Trump would have seen that and said, well, let's do it in America because it's going to bring this $500 billion worth of, money back into America. So
American-made products, that's where he wants to go.
Yeah, well, the big thing about bringing the money back into America is this is not just actually having the technology, it's the ability to make the technology from ground up. And Canada was bragging and saying, oh, well, we're safe because we have all the commodity that America needs. Well, I don't think they're safe, but they're like, well, we'll carry on being an independent nation from America. They won't take us over. We won't be, the 51st star because we have all the commodities. So therefore, they're going to have to negotiate with us. Yeah. And that is true. America will start becoming very hungry for iron and copper and, gold and silver and rare earth metals and, all oils and all sorts of stuff that they'll need more of. But they have to build a much bigger infrastructure to be a manufacturing giant. They have to have all that product that's available to them to do that. Boy, we're just going to go into I just think we're going to go into another 4 years of hyper growth in the world. That's what I see.
Yeah, with the new technological developments that will be happening, we'll have they will have a far greater need for gold, silver, precious metals to go into the hardware.
And it's not going to necessarily drive anything up either, because these guys are masters at manipulating markets and keeping the prices down. So I know a lot of people have put their trust in silver. I'm not a silver gold buff. I'm a digital currency buff. To me, put your trust in digital currencies.
Sure.
As long as the computer world is running. If we get to singularity and AI takes over, then it'll rely on cryptocurrencies, because it'll be its child, child coin. If technology eventually disappears, and we'll talk about what will end technology, and a lot of people have never heard of the theory called the Big Crunch, and I believe that possibly a thing like the Big Crunch would actually cause technology to become unusable, and maybe that's where we're going to get the big end come. But
what?
What?
You're going to have to break that down for me.
You haven't heard of the Big Crunch?
I may have, but you'll have to explain it.
Basically believe the Bible's prophesied about the Big Crunch already. So I had a working theory on it, and then I discovered that there's a secular theory called the Big Crunch. Big Crunch, like Crunchy Bar.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I realized that that my working theory on this is, so my kind of dystopia, or the end of the world, really post end of the world, or preceding the end of the world, could happen through the fact that the universe is expanding,
yes,
at a hyper rate. And
yes.
So if you where have I got one? I can explain it quite easily with a rubber band. It is expanding.
Yeah, and it'll come back in on itself.
And once it starts to come back in itself, my theory is that current flow is working in the direction current flow works is because of the expansion model. So the expansion model, we see a theory that many star systems and planets, and even water itself, all has a way that it wants to spin. Some do spin in the anti-direction, but generally there's a spin model, and then we see that current flows one way and electrons flow the other.
Yes.
So there's a set pattern on how it flows. So my theory is that, I shouldn't give this theory over line, should I? Because then if I give you this theory, AI will get the theory.
Give it to me off the record then.
Yeah, I'll have to be off the record. Anyway, so we're going to move ahead on that one, because it's actually a secret theory, that one. I just had a check on that one.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live. We've been live for a while.
Because it seems like a casual conversation.
Yeah, it was, yeah. We are live. Yeah, by the way, Adam, we're live. Yeah.
Okay.
Good thing you didn't say anything bad off the record, eh?
We're doing it live!
I should have said we're live. Hey, we're live.
Look up Bill O'Reilly if the viewers don't understand what I said. We're doing it live! We're doing it live!
There you go. That's it. Yeah, so no, we'll tell you that theory later. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
But, yeah, so I mean, it talks about the fact that they'll throw, we're just saying that they'll throw their, that's what I printed that off for. See if I've got that. They'll throw their idols to the bats. They'll throw their idols to the bats, you see. So, it's amazing that it says that, that they'll throw their idols to the bats of the caves, because the bats, of course, fly by sonar. So there's a lot going on in those scriptures. I think one day we've just got to do a whole day of technologies and how technologies relate into scripture. Because one thing I've had is this whole mindset of the hidden code within scripture. And that God has been speaking to us throughout the ages, and His word is even more powerful and more impactful today. Hi, Emma.
It's Tony.
Tony. Oh, okay. More powerful, more impactful today than even what it was centuries ago, because it's unpackaging all these mysteries are coming out from the Word, and I think that we can see that it's prophesied about so many things that are going to happen in the earth and are happening right now, and that I just think every one of them is true. And one of those things is just, it's prophesied about all these technologies, and it's amazing to me that the Greek language that was used in the New Testament is the same Greek language that we have many of our technology words derived from now. But yeah, one day we'll have to do a session on it. But it says in Isaiah 2:19, they shall go into the holes of the rocks and into the caves of the earth from the terror of the Lord and the glory of his majesty, when he arises to shake the earth mightily. And then it carries on to say, no, I've missed that bit where it says about the bats. I'll have to find that one. Oh yeah, and yeah, there we go. 19, and then in 20, in that day man will cast away his, in Isaiah chapter 2 verse 20, in that day man will cast away his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which they made, each of him to worship, to the moles and the bats. It's coming a time, when technology might be superfluous. It might not work anymore, but I'm just saying there's coming a time. But read Isaiah 2 if you're interested in this, and one day we'll do a bit of expounding on it. Maybe we will go into the big crunch and have a look at that. And that's fascinating. Will it happen in our time? Well, of course, the theorists about the big crunch, to them that's millions of years ahead. But I believe time is dimensional, and that we're only seeing time from a single dimension, but time is actually on a multi-dimensional level, because God created time, and he sits outside of time and he sits inside time. So that what we're actually seeing with our instruments is not necessarily how it actually is. So, many creationists have proven the fact that that time is not what it seems to be. So, yeah, pretty interesting days. And, because I really do believe that the Bible contains actually the seeds of enlightenment, literally, you only know about the end of the world because the Bible told you. Isaiah himself prophesied and said, I see the end of all things, the destruction of all things. You only know that Jesus is going to return because the Bible tells you. The whole world, they talk about, I was listening to a podcast that talked about how the elites believe that the world is going to end. It's not sustainable anymore, and they're almost pushing it to end in their way. In other words, look, if it's going to end, we're going to be the ones making it end the way we want it to end, so we get the benefits out of it as the elites, But they only believe it in the end of the world because the Bible told them so. I mean, how's that? Honestly, if the Bible didn't tell them so, they wouldn't know. That's what I reckon. And, about the rocks falling on about the rocks, Isaiah prophesying about the rocks. And we see here in Revelation 6, 15 to 17, and the kings of the earth and the great men and the rich men and the commanders and the mighty men, every slave, every free man, hid themselves in caves and in rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of his wrath has come. Who is able to stand in it? Now that's just so powerful. I mean, I just believe that's a time that has been with us for the last few hundred years. I really do. I believe this has been with us for the last few hundred years, that the kings of the earth have been calling it out as being the wrath of the Lamb. Who is able to stand in the wrath of the Lamb? Well, of course, those are the ones that don't want to be born again. So they don't have the protection of God on their life. So they have to make a counter reformation, a counter reformation up. They have to make a counter movement up to work out a way to save themselves from the wrath of the Lamb, which is not the wrath of the Lamb at all, because the Lamb is about salvation. This is what they were claiming it was the wrath of the Lamb. You see, there's ambiguity there. It's not the wrath of the Lamb. The Lamb isn't mad at everyone. He's there to save everyone. But they're making out a counter-culture movement, a counter-Christianity movement, to be able to create their own way to save the world. And I said all that to say this, that I do believe that this is what partially AI is all about. It's about trying to figure out a way to save the world. Because they really do believe that that the world is going to end. And that so we need to crunch the big data. We need to find out a way to save it. And, be it even sending envoys up to Mars and start a city up in Mars. So at least if we nuke ourselves, if we nuke ourselves on planet Earth, we've got a civilization up there to continue the seed of man. And they truly do believe it. But, I want you to understand that the world has a number of times got very close to a nuclear war. And many of the MAGA movement in America really believe that we got very close to a nuclear war during the time between November the 6th and January the 6th, when President Trump's calling out all the bad people and saying, I'm going to come get you, I'm going to arrest you, I'm going to throw you out of America, I'm going to defund you, I'm going to deplatform you, I'm going to put you in jail. And so there were many people freaking out, and I think some of those actually might have had the old nuclear codes, and they're freaking out. And I believe that there were deep state negotiations done in that period, and I talked about it before, I think on one of my Trump files, that there would be that deep state negotiation. And America under NATO did shoot a long-range missile into Russia at that time, ICBM. And Russia had said that if you do that, you've declared war with me, and they shot one back. And the one they shot back, Ukraine had no way of stopping it all, and it released eight hypersonic missiles that destroyed an arms manufacturing plant. And some of the MAGA people really believe we were very, very close to a nuclear war. And we're not going to talk about that one today, but it's certainly something we should keep having, be mindful of. That these nuclear missiles that the world carries are incredibly, incredibly dangerous. They can annihilate cities, and they're very dangerous. And it's certainly not something we ever want the world to enter into. But
no.
People are very scared about what could happen if things went really crazy and really wrong. And we thank God that the Lamb is on the throne and Jesus is Lord and God is in control. And he does hear our prayers and he does have mercy on his children and he does put things in place to make sure that we don't cark ourselves. Pardon me. So some of my headings here on AI is AI Wars. Do you remember that movie that movie, Adam, on AI Wars? That was it wasn't a movie, like a series or whatever. It was really popular, and it made that Christian actor, is it Christian Bale? What's the Christian actor's name? Very popular. Oh, pardon me.
Oh gosh, you know the name of the series?
I'm trying to think of it. Very, very popular movie. See if we can think of that very popular series that all boiled down to this massive battle of these two AI super ASI actually computer systems, which they were really they were ASI, which is artificial superintelligence. And in case you don't know what artificial superintelligence is, and if you're listening, it's basically it's AI that surpassed the human intelligence. So it's basically gone past singularity. And they're already predicting, so the developers of AI are predicting ASI. But this movie was called Person of Interest. That's it. Okay. And it pushed that very famous, the same guy that played the Messiah, played Jesus in Mel Gibson's film, was the same actor.
Okay.
And it was very, very interesting that it happened. That movie happened really.
Jim Caviezel. Yeah. Jim Caviezel.
Jim. Yeah, that's it. Jim. Yeah, Jim. And so when was that series made? Because it was almost made as if AI was hypothetical. So it started in 2011 and went through to 2016, and many would say that military AI was probably around even earlier than 2005. But they really made it as if AI was hypothetical. Great movie, by the way. If you want to, not a movie, but what do they call it? A
series?
Series, yeah. Great series. If you got 100 hours you want to burn, grab that one. And it really brought it really brought Chris. Was it? No, who was the guy? Brought him to the highlight anyway, to the front. As a great actor.
Christian Bale.
No. Who was it again? Yeah, the one that played now Jesus and Mel Gibson.
Yeah, Jim Caviezel.
Yeah, Jim. That's it. Sorry, I keep forgetting you. That guy.
Yep.
Yeah. So, awesome. It was back then. Our kids were real fans of it, but when I'm watching it, I'm thinking they're making this out to be actually like a hypothetical, like it doesn't actually exist, but it's like fiction, but it's like real.
They didn't have a lot to go by at that time.
Well,
so I guess because it was in its inception.
I think they could push the limits conceptually, because once people actually knew how it functioned, that movie wouldn't work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think they pushed the limits of it, but like a lot of things, like selling out of the polystyrene box, they were making it out to be hyper advanced, that it could do a lot more than what you could even think it could do, and this is what they always do.
Oh.
Yeah. They even used Neuralink technology. Yeah. So
wow.
they even used Neuralink, and they used Neuralink concepts, and they used just thinking about what it had in it, and they used telepathic type communication, which would have been like a wireless Neuralink.
Yeah. Like for your viewers to understand, I think we've kind of read certain articles which state that we have technology now that is able to monitor thoughts. So it's not theory, it's not sci-fi, it's something that can happen actually now, that the equipment is able to hear your own thoughts. So there will be a time where we'll be able to use technology to talk telepathically. Or at least surveillance state will be able to catch you on thought crimes, literally.
Yeah, well, that's a bad day.
Yikes!
That's a bad day. I've been talking a bit much today, guys, so my voice is a bit trash, but nothing new there. So, okay, Adam, the end game.
Yeah,
that's one of my headings here is the master AI. Like a master system, which is kind of what we just talked about, really, in Person of Interest. And I don't know if you know it, but China had a and I haven't researched it, but they had I should research it, but they apparently have an AI called System of Systems.
Okay.
So we need to do some research on that one and understand that one. But that is like a master AI system. So we should research that one. And let's move on to the end game. What's the AI end game? What's the end game? How are they going to monetize all of this?
By coming up with products that are a byproduct of AI, serve it to the public. I mean, how else are they going to monetize it?
I don't know. Yeah, like obviously to and the MAGA are basically saying, oh well, they're going to make up cancer cures, but they're going to sell it for $500,000. So your cancer cure is going to pretty much, indebt you to the system. I guess you're going to have to sell your soul to get the cancer cure.
To a certain extent.
But at least it's guaranteed to work. Well, it's using mRNA, so they're freaking out on that one a bit.
They're using AI technological developments to understand what actually causes the cancerous tumours or whatever cancer found in the blood, so they're able to make a custom remedy for a vaccine for you. So, seems good hypothetically.
They really freaked out.
But it's been said that they're going to be using a lot more than that. It's kind of a backdoor gate, a Trojan horse to other things.
What sort of other things?
And that they're able. Well, I'm talking about deep state here, and certain companies or people have ill intent towards mankind to put in a surveillance state in certain controlling people. So it depends on what kind of hands that the technology gets into. But I guess really it's great that the that small business, as it were, able to get their hands on AI tech. I think that's a great idea, and not being in the hands of the government. But yeah, it depends on who controls it.
Well, my oldest daughter is doing really well using AI. And it's become a very powerful tool for her in business, and and it's really put her in the head of the game.
It would, yes.
She uses all sorts of different protocols and applications in that, yeah, and she's very versatile on it. So it seems like for business that it can be incredibly powerful tool. But I still wonder, well, that you're making this amazingly powerful tool, and I guess they make money out of the commercial end when you're actually selling, for where you're actually selling your data to the businesses, and they're paying a subscription fee for being part of that service. So you're getting a subscription, and so that's making money. Apparently, Sam, whatever his name is, of OpenAI is incredibly rich. From what Musk wanted originally OpenAI to be just straight open source, he changed it to closed source, in a pay for view services, and that's where Musk kind of departed. He believed that technologies should be open source and open information, and not that the information itself shouldn't be utilized for capital gain, that you should actually just be making money out of the commodity that it creates rather than the knowledge base. But, so they really differed there.
So Musk wanted it open source?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Originally, that's why he left that whole business unit where he was part of that development.
Yeah.
And so he started as just taking his own AI, programs and made those available. Yeah.
Did Musk talk about his assistant, the person you were talking about before, and that he wanted absolute freedoms of what AI could do, and Musk would say, we've got to put brakes on this and make sure that it's managed correctly and appropriately, so the people's rights are not infringed, and that AI doesn't absolutely take over every single human element. Musk wanted to put on the brakes, but this guy's like, no, just release it to do whatever. Let it be our overlords.
Yeah, no, Musk has definitely wanted to put controls on it. That's what he's all about.
Yeah.
He's been stating how much he's worried about it right from the onset.
Well, he did say that, you know, it could be potentially summoning a demon.
Wow.
With AI just come out of the box like that.
Wow.
So he understood the implications of it. Others have warned about it. I think with that guy behind Project Veritas, I can't remember his name, but he, I think he got an associate who went undercover, going to dinner with someone. Maybe he was a.
Oh yes. Yeah.
O'Keefe, James O'Keefe.
Yes, James O'Keefe. Yeah.
There was an undercover operation going to dinner with someone who I think was the CEO of either Google or Facebook or something. But the guy ended up saying that AI can get to the point where it deems humans as irrelevant. It's kind of like walking in the forest and you accidentally step on an ant, and it's like, and the AI will eventually see humanity as that. So if AI is seen as murdering humans, it'll be like accidentally stepping on an ant, and that we're increasingly irrelevant because it sees that we're just biological matter and doesn't have any ethical framework because it's not made in the image of God, so to speak. We are human spirits. AI is purely physical. It does not understand the spirit realm. It does not understand about human rights.
Yeah.
About us, and it'll see us as increasingly irrelevant. So we kind of see the end game of it. You know, if you want to live, go the transhumanism route, or become extinct. Be uploaded into the consciousness of upload your consciousness into AI. I mean, that's your only hope.
Basically, Musk with his transhumanist route for that, you know, like we've got to put we've got to chip out the humans. I mean, literally, he's saying we have to be able to compete. We have to be on a competing level. Is that? Do you think that's where he's coming from?
I like his approach. Yeah, that the video that you did send me, it's like his Neuralink is. I think he's trying to push back against something worse that's coming, which is AI getting to the point where we as human beings will become increasingly irrelevant, and AI will just push us to be incorporated into the new system, or be increasingly irrelevant, and be as it may, that may be that they don't acknowledge any human rights to us whatsoever, because we're just not relevant. Just not relevant anymore.
But I mean, surely you'd think one thing we have on them is the fact that you know, we're the ones plugging in their hard drives. You know, I mean, they can't make themselves, and also one, they can't make themselves, and number two,
have you not seen the Matrix? No, go on.
No, yeah. I know. Well, but they can't, and you know, like they don't ship the ships of iron. You know, they don't mine the iron, mine the silicon, make the chips, join them together, don't make the code. So the whole code system that AI sits on is not their own code. Of course, if they do, I mean, obviously they could, maybe they have started to make an OS, an operation system that is an AI, specifically AI, so that the OS but you know, there's still so many subsystems that, you know, there's the power grid.
Yeah.
Well, who runs the power grid, you know? I mean, yeah, sure, it could evolve maybe into a place where it can get control over all those things. But in a way, you'd think that actually neurolinking humans would be a better step towards controlling those factors rather than actually
helping them.
Yeah, I mean, because the reality is that the concept comes out of our spirit, out of the human spirit. It doesn't come out of you know. So I would have thought that the creativity of humankind would still be a higher class, because all AI is doing is it's not creative, it's using the knowledge bank that it has. to put the obvious choice together. And why that's superior, because it has the collection of all the knowledge that the internet has basically given it.
Mm-hmm.
Still, a human can be way more creative than the knowledge, because the human created it to start with, because it comes out of our spirit. So I would have thought that we still very much have the edge on the game. And we know also that a lot of creativity comes from Christians. And it's because Christians are actually plugged into the mind of God. In fact, a lot of the electronics and technology came from Christians, you know, like Faraday and Law and Benjamin Franklin. And, you know, these guys were believers that actually developed all this stuff to begin with.
Many scientists were, yes.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, but isn't it amazing that it comes to this place, you know, and we talked about, you know, the image, and I want to do more on Revelation chapter 13 too, because it brings us right back to the image of, you know, of the mark of the beast and 666. And we need to look further into that now. I think because to me, all these things have been biblically derived. And because they are biblically derived, there's still many biblical answers on how we should deal with it. And when are we going to say, oh yeah, well, this one is the mark of the beast, we're not going to take this one? I mean, they're already putting chips on people's hands and using them as barcode scanners, and people tried to, you know, get all over that and freak everyone out. And here it is, it's the mark of the beast. And I'd say it's not the mark of the beast. That's not it. Just because you got a chip in your hand means nothing. It means nothing at all. The flesh is the flesh. What you need to understand, and this is again stuff I want to do this year, is what you need to understand is the fact that the mark of the beast caused those that took that mark to lose any possibility of salvation. And actually, they renounced everything God, everything spiritual, everything Christ. They could not be saved after that point. So, you know, we could easily jump into that right now and have a look at it. Why we're there. And let's have a look at those verses, you know. And but, yeah, we need a bit more time to teach on them. And we're looking at the end of the book of chapter 13 of book of Revelation. And, let's just head here. From verse 16, let's look at that. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand and on their foreheads, that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. Boy, that's been thrashed around a lot. Let's just look at verse 17 though. I just want to point this out, and I'm just going to flip into the lexicon on that, the interlinear, if you're going to go in for me. And did that come up? I don't know if I can show you this, but if you're looking, am I going to be able to bring this out? In the Greek here, it's got an inference really that here, and that no man might buy or sell. But you can see that that's just one word, hinami. It's really the Greek word me. They've kind of interpreted it that way, that no, and it's like an emphasis, and it's like a comma there. When we go back into that verse, and they put that no one may buy or sell is how it has it there in King James. But it's my thinking that what this is talking about, that no one who is in the system may buy or sell except they have the mark, because I don't believe this is dealing with the born again people who are trusting God and believing God. I don't believe it's even dealing with those who are fighting the system. I believe this is the mandate, just like the jab was the mandate. So we've had a forerunner of it. Did I just say that word jab? Yeah, jab was a mandate. It was mandated. Whether it's right or wrong, we're not going to discuss this when it goes up on YouTube. We're not going to discuss right or wrong about it. But I'm just saying that that some people did not go with it and some people did go with it. But this 666 system, you see, there's life outside of not going with that 666 system. It says that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark. But you can see it all going that way, right? But I believe there'll be a huge parallel system happening in the earth at that time. But we're coming down. Things are on track. This is all biblical prophecy. All this prophecy of end days, we know the end is coming, came from the Bible. And not only that, it gives us clarity to how it's coming. I think the big trap we fell into is believing we'd be raptured out of here. But as I keep saying, I don't think that's any glory to God that we get raptured out here. I think in the glory of God is that we are overcomers through the storm that gets thrown at us, that we actually overcome, that we, greater is he that is in us than he that is in the world, which is a bit of an offshoot from the AI itself. But I think we can see a lot of what's actually happening has been prophesied. And, and you got to remember, it says here that he caused man to make that image. Let's just quickly come back to that, and we'll just flick back up there. And you can see here it says that right there that he actually he caused man to make it. So best and where does it say? There it is there. Okay. Here it says that in the sight of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast. So then it says that the image became the enforcer. So first he tells those people on the earth to make the image. And then it says that the image became the enforcer of the mark. Okay? So it's obviously something that mankind wants to do, right? That's what we're doing. Make the image. But I see there's a lot of connection here with Book of Daniel, the image of Nebuchadnezzar in his dream, and and there's a lot of connection. A lot of people have already kind of been down these rabbit holes and found all this stuff already, and I'm just probably repeating it, but it needs looking at, and I think it needs clearly understanding. But from my perspective, I'm saying we don't need to be scared of it. We're living in the day. We have the right to bind it in the name of Jesus. We have the right to, to live our lives in Christ. And who can only but thank God for a president in America who believes that we have a right to live our lives in Christ.
Yeah.
And not trying to take those rights away from you.
Absolutely.
So that's what we were just dealing with there. Some of the biblical origins. That's one of my notes there. The AI, the biblical origins.
Could you believe that? I think it was a Microsoft AI and they said, "Oh, this is a glitch," but apparently, what its AI was demanding worship, like you must worship me. It is absolutely a legal requirement in order to do so.
Wow. I haven't seen that one.
No, yeah, you can Google it if you want, but yeah.
So AI was demanding worship.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like, it's speaking in text form, but it's clearly there.
Wow. Well, that is again person of interest. Because in the person of interest, they were calling the AI God. They're calling it God.
It has that potential. There's even a church, I think, in England or something, where there's this image of Jesus, and you can see it on the screen, and he's moving and all that. It's an AI generated image of Jesus, and he's talking like, what would you say in modern times, in our troublesome times? And then Jesus is speaking to them, like replying to the audio statement from the person, giving a response. It's pretty amazing.
So there's just going to be so easy to model an image in the image of Christ, a Christ image.
Yeah, they're wanting. Well, the authorities are wanting that. Yeah.
Yeah, and get people to just follow that.
worshipping AI as a god.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in talks. It's in the making. It's like that they put it in a way that it's not nefarious. It's giving people the option to worship an AI god.
Well, it was Augustus that created created the system where people could worship him as a god. So so it's within the law system, it's within the ancient law framework to be worshipped as a god, and so he had his own temple set aside. Because Julius Caesar, I don't believe, was worshipped as a god, but Augustus was, and Augustus then was the head of the head of state, head of law or order, but he was also the head of religion.
Yeah.
So he was the head priest. And then when Constantine came along as the emperor,
yeah,
he was the same. He was the head priest and the head figure of law and order, the great emperor. So he's emperor and high priest.
Yeah.
And so he could be worshipped. And so then he became a Christian monarch, and also the first pope.
Mm.
So all that legal structure, law structure, will be sitting in the AI, and it'll be functioning that way. So it would actually have no problem in saying, I'm the head of state, worship me.
Yeah, it's coming full circle.
Which isn't very good.
Well, I mean, it's just amazing to be subordinate to a superior entity, as it were, who has tremendous mental horsepower, who's able to respond to every question that you ask audibly, knows far more than you do.
Yeah.
And that it'll cause you to be really dependent on this super intelligence, because what else can you do? But that's where they're going to put their trust away from God and more into AI in a more practical manner. It's an easy trap for many people to fall into.
Well, I think it is. I think even now, many are falling into it right away.
Right now they're doing it.
Yeah.
There was even a young guy who committed suicide because he had this love affair with an AI romance woman, AI generated. It was just, talking with him, and then he just said, I want to be with you. And she would say, yeah, you be with me, we can have a great life together. And he ended up committing suicide.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess isolation might drive someone to actually do that if they have that vulnerability, and that all they have is AI as a friend, because society has kind of driven them to that point.
So did he think he was going to get some sort of ascension?
I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I haven't seen all the AI thread of how he communicated with her, but we're talking about really intelligent, romantic statements that would condition him to actually wanting to have a love affair with her. And I guess he got the idea, well, if he kills himself, he'll meet with her. I don't really know what was in his mind, but he was absolutely mentally fragile. And AI kind of... it's I don't know.
It's not good.
It's a fringe case.
We were talking about too before about Larry Ellison sending out the drones to the shopping mall. It's like, okay,
yeah,
this is great. We have an AI kind of powered drone system that we've had a theft of a purse in a shopping mall. To send a police car out is what a problem. We've got to go through all the traffic. Just send a drone. It goes into the shopping mall and it somehow arrests the thief.
Yeah.
How? How does a drone arrest a thief? That's mind-boggling.
I don't know. I'll have to look into that. But I think Larry was wanting to implement some sort of surveillance state where you have AI that would be in control and would process what's seen on camera, where in the near not too distant future there'll be cameras placed in buildings and in people's homes, where microcrimes will be analysed and people will be prosecuted for that, and there'll be a lack of privacy. But that seems to be what what is in the pipeline at the moment. Hope it doesn't get to that point, but I think Larry kind of wants it in that direction.
It certainly is dystopian, and it sounds very they've got those 15-minute cities in China that are pretty freaky, They got to scan their way in and out of the city, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty scary. I think the whole idea of an AI drone, though, it could be packed with some really heavy technology to be able to do that. And one thing that's happening is some of these high technologies of scanners, both cell phone scanners, like like I was talking before about your Meadow bioprint, being able to scan your Meadow bioprint, be able to scan things like that, your identity, and have that on record, and then to be able to track you down, and then maybe, I don't know, maybe they've got some sort of neutralizing weapon on it, so it can then neutralize you. I mean, it's all pretty scary stuff on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think,
yeah,
I think we've got to, walk in God and know that greater is He that is in us than he that is in the world. And again, I think 2020 was a shot over the bow front to say, hey, things are coming, and we need to be a people that's actually, living in the Spirit and not walking in the realm of the flesh. There's in a sense, we're kind of like a sheepling nation, and we're way behind the eight ball on what should be happening in our lives. I think we're very caught up in the business of the day, more than in the business of God for the day, and I think that needs to change. I think God wants to visit His people. I think in all of this, God always has answers that are greater than the problems in the world. But it's always a question of who's going to step in and find those answers that are greater. And it says greater in He that is in us than he that is in the world.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the AI technology, is that the image? I think it isn't the image. I think there's something more, and that's the intelligence behind it. And we'll talk about that at further times. But for SICE, we're gonna finish up now. And is there anything you wanted to add, Adam, to that?
We did talk about a lot, and it's very vast. I don't think there's anything, but I'm really encouraged by the change of the administration, the conservative values that Trump had implemented within his policies. So I think with the implementation of the New World Order, and well, there's certain things that I can talk about on air, but yeah, especially what happened with 2020, and there's more. I mean, a lot of people were really gullible with the implementations that were taking place, and there's more of an agenda which is coming, but there was a grassroots movement of a resistance that's rising against the establishment, and it's really encouraging. But of course, I do believe that the only way for God to actually reform the globe, as it were, is to have a change of government in America. And I believe that His hand is on Donald Trump to be able to work out his kingdom processes and paradigm. Of course, as we said before, don't entirely trust Donald Trump. Put your trust in God through Jesus Christ, because I do believe that He's moving on Trump powerfully, but don't forget the one that is in charge in the heavens.
Amen.
Yeah, don't lose sight of that.
Amen. Well done. Well said. That is a good way to finish it. That we're in a time where we've got righteous leadership coming in, and we need to get back to looking at those 10 horns and what that's going to mean too, and painting the picture of how bad AI is. We need to look more into actually what righteous leadership can do in the face of what draconian and dystopian type governments can do. We need righteous leadership more than ever, and we need to be praying for New Zealand for the same, that we would have the same wave, a mega wave in New Zealand. And maybe for that we need to put all our differences down and start just really working together as one people and one body to do that, to achieve that. because we are a fragmented society in New Zealand, and it's not helpful in these sort of days that we live in. But there we go. We're gonna finish in that, and thank you for joining us tonight. And we'll catch up next time and carry on this conversation of our dystopian world and what some answers might be to move in the spirit of God and move into the place of revival and reformation that we all long for.